Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson, and this is How to Beat Paris Saint-Germain. Champions League football is back. United have got a minging group, as we all know, but I'm going to go through how I think United actually can get something out of this game. We'll talk about a little bit about the team news, but first we're going to start with a couple of the quotes from Gunnar Solskjaer. So talking about the group stage draw, he says, yes, it will be tough. Semi-finalists in Leipzig and finalists in PSG. Of course, you know you're going to play against good teams. It just shows the challenge that we're facing and how far we have come. And he's absolutely bang on. This is the Champions League. You do expect to face good teams. And we have got two very good ones in the group. On the team news, then he says United's only confirmed injured players are Sergio Romero and Izzy, though, and Phil Jones. But Mason Greenwood is down as a doubt because we still don't actually know why he was excluded from the squad against Newcastle. Is it just to keep him out of the limelight? Was it a rest? Was it an injury? We don't know, is the answer. It's probably still too early, I think, for Axel Tuanzebe, while Edinson Cavani is available for selection at the end of his quarantine. He's obviously going to be low on match sharpness, but do you know what? I have a sneaky suspicion he might gamble. Tony Marshall is available, and with the remaining 2 games of his 3-game ban only counting towards domestic fixtures, I think there's a very strong chance that he probably plays him, but I'm not gonna, and I'll show you why when we get into the team news. In midweek, Tuchel admitted that PSG could have up to only 13 fit senior players. He goes, we have to take responsibility for Neymar and Mbappe, who played almost 90 minutes yesterday. Oh, bless. And maybe we'll only have 12, 13 players available. Got a bit of bad luck. Draxler and Marquinhos are a doubt. Kehrer is injured for a few weeks. Bernat and Icardi are injured, and Icardi a week ago. The internal ligament in his knee, it's not too serious, but he will miss Nimes and Manchester. We have Pereira back. He's also been in contact with Cristiano Ronaldo, so the medical staff wish he didn't train with the group. And Verratti was injured with Italy, and he's in contact with our doctor now. We are missing too many players, he says. I like it. Tuchel's also confirmed Neymar and Mbappe will feature, though. He says Neymar doesn't have any issue. We talked together like I did with Kylian, and we had an honest discussion, and I decided to let him rest today. He'll be with us tomorrow. He'll train and get ready for the game against United, and he will be on the pitch for sure. Of course he will. If you've got 12, 13 players available, and one of them's Neymar or Mbappe, of course they're going to play. Right then, in the past, we have met them 2 times. You might remember them. The 18-19 Champions League round of 16 are the only 2 times that Paris and United have met. They beat us 2-0 at Old Trafford in the first leg, with Kimpembe and Mbappe scoring the goals before Pogba was sent off in the last minute. The away leg at Parc des Princes produced one of United's biggest European nights in recent history, and honestly, do we have to go over it? Don't think we have to go over it, do we? It was pretty good. Started fantastically with 2 goals from Lukaku, getting us right into the game. And then Marcus Rashford with absolute balls of steel to bury the penalty and seal passage into the quarterfinals, where it didn't quite go to plan after that. Since the defeat to United in 18-19, Paris have won all 4 of their home Champions League games since, and they haven't lost a Champions League group stage match since 2004. When they were beaten by CSKA Moscow. United have just won 1 of their 6 away group stage games in France. We've drawn 3 and lost 2. A 2-1 win at Bordeaux was the last time that we won in France in a group stage, and that was in the year 2000. We haven't faced a French team at this stage since 2005-2006, though, when we failed to win either game against Lille, drawing 1 and losing 1. United could become the first ever team to win twice at PSG in the Champions League. PSG haven't lost. Have lost just 7 of their 53 Champions League games at home, and United have lost their opening match in just 2 of their 22 Champions League campaigns, where we've won 13 and drawn 7, and that was Juventus in 96 and PSV in 2015. Let's talk about PSG then. So obviously, you would expect them to be incredibly dominant in the domestic leagues, but they're also quite dominant in European competition as well. And I think they've got a hell of a side. Tuchel's preferred formation is a 4-3-3. He's used it 5 times this season already. Navas is the first choice goalkeeper, with Florenzi at right back and 20-year-old Mitchell Bakker at left back. It's usually Marquinhos and Kimpembe in central defence, but Diallo's probably going to replace the former due to an injury. Paredes, Idrissa Gueye, and obviously Ander Herrera should make up what's probably going to be a midfield 3 because Verratti is a doubt after getting injured with Italy. With Icardi being out, they should have a pretty decent replacement in some lad called Kylian Mbappe. I heard he's doing all right. And I reckon it's probably going to be Sarabia or Angel Di Maria filling in on the right and Neymar on the left-hand side. I'm less worried about the left-hand side because I do think that'll be where Aaron Wan-Bissaka lines up. But for Manchester United to get anything into this game, I think the way that you beat these is you look at the template of what Manchester United did against Manchester City in the last game that we all saw in the flesh. You remember the one with Scott McTominay getting the winner in injury time? That's the Badger. So in this game, United played 3-5-2. We went with a back three of Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw, Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams as wing-backs, and we had Fred and Matic in midfield with Bruno Fernandes, who was pretty ineffective, but he played, Dan James and Tony Marshall. That was the team that we went with, and that was the team that managed to get a 2-0 victory against Manchester City with only 28% possession. And we did all right. We ended up having more shots than City did. We limited them, we harassed them, and we ended up getting the points. And I don't think we get enough credit for that performance. Why does this relate to Paris Saint-Germain? Well, earlier in the week, I said I thought United was going to have a better performance against Paris than we did against Newcastle. Now, we had a 4-1 win against Newcastle, which I didn't know about, obviously, prior to when I made the statement. But I still think that this is going to be the case. I think Manchester United are better being a team that's without the ball. Maybe not 28% possession like we had against Manchester City back in March, but I do expect Paris to take the lion's share of possession and United to drop deep. Here's the team that I'm going for. So, as you've probably guessed, I'm going with a back three. I'm going with Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. And I think this is a good time to introduce Telles and allow him the freedom to get forward. Now, it's going to be completely asymmetrical because Telles is going to bomb on and get forward. And Wan-Bissaka is not. Wan-Bissaka is going to be given the task of keeping Neymar quiet because he is an absolute threat. I've gone with Pogba alongside Matic because he's just a better footballer than Fred, and if he puts in some sort of a shift, it'll work perfectly. Bruno in the 10, given the licence to create. And I've gone with Icardi and Rashford up front. I think Rashford's pace is a little bit more frightening and his off-the-ball working is a little bit more than what you would get out of Tony Marshall. And I think in Icardi, you've got someone who is going to absolutely dominate anything that he gets. He also knows Paris, and there's always that thing, isn't there, when you go and play the club that you used to play for, you score a goal. And I would say Icardi to open his account for United in these circumstances, this is how you do it. Whether there's been enough time for him to get to grips with this little system, because counter-attacking is not something he would have had to do very often playing for Paris, remains to be seen. But I'd go with this. I would go with this as a team. And if it wasn't Pogba, if Ollie's still got doubts about Pogba, then it will be Fred in that midfield that I would go for. But I could also make a case for Scott McTominay, who thought had a really good game against Newcastle at the weekend. But here's what United have to do. They have to soak up the pressure and they have to be deadly on the counter-attack. You can get in behind this Paris side. We saw that a couple of years ago, that you can get in behind them, but you have to be strong defensively. And I think this team can be strong defensively, and I think Ollie's got the tactical flexibility to be able to pull out this other formation. When you've got the attacking talent that they've got in Paris, and I think missing Verratti is a big thing for them because they won't control the ball the same in midfield as they do when Verratti plays. But when you've got the attacking talent of Mbappe and of Neymar, and even if it's Di Maria on the other side, you have to go man for man with them, and then you have to have somebody spare. Now, I would imagine you can go man for man with the defence that we've got here. You should, in fact, be two men extra with Telles tucking in and also Wan-Bissaka tucking in, allow you to go extremely narrow and deny the space in the middle with a back three. I would also expect Matic to chip in defensively and also hold the structure of the midfield, and then you can look to attack with the remaining four players, which is more than enough to cause some havoc. We saw how all the goals came, minus the penalty at the end because that was different, and they had their backs to the wall a little bit the last time we played them. But I think with Rashford, with Bruno, and with Paul Pogba going forward, regardless of what happens with Cavani, who I think could be sensational, like you put it on a plate for him inside the box, and it's going to be a goal for Manchester United. But I think this is how you beat them. I think this is how you turn up and you give it them. I'm going to see if I can get on the questions from everybody in the Patreon group. I can. We lost internet here before, but I can get on them, so I will get in there. And let's see what they're saying. Adam says, is Ollie at the wheel? Ollie is indeed at the wheel. Would you see the result against Newcastle being a good indicator of us getting a result against Paris? No correlation. We were having a tough time breaking them down, but we were really effective on the counter. PSG is definitely not going to sit in a low block, giving us a better edge. Sort of touched on that, yeah. I think United are just superior playing on the counter to what they are when they play with ball at feet. I think they're just better at it. That it suits this system a lot more. And we might be doing a video soon as well talking about Harry Maguire and how his role has changed with the United's focus changing. What should be our plan to keep Mbappe quiet? You go deep. When you've got someone with the blistering pace of Mbappe, if you look at the goal that he scored at Old Trafford, that came from them almost counter-attacking us. You don't let someone with pace get in behind. The same reason why I was saying I could understand if we went with Mata instead of Dan James, even though we ended up playing both at the weekend. If there's nothing for someone with pace to run into, then you're relying on them to pull out tricks in tight areas. And yes, Mbappe's got tricks. He's a top-level footballer, but it's harder. And it nullifies his main attribute, which is his pace. Don't give him space and don't let him in behind, and that's going to be how you stop him. Similar tactics to the time we played City at the Etihad. I mean, you've pretty much read my mind. Yep, that was what we went with. Any news on Axel? Nothing. I hope he gets fit soon, and then we'll have it. Do I think it'll be harder for PSG to cut off creativity as we just don't have Pogba to look to? Yes and no. I would expect that they'll play quite a functional midfield. If Verratti's missing, and you know under Herrera, we know exactly what to expect with him. But they're going to play a midfield that will probably cover ground a lot better than it would with Verratti in it. So I think that if Pogba does play, that might be a good thing because they'll definitely mark him. And they'll definitely try and put probably under Herrera, I would think, on Bruno. But hopefully, it's not enough coverage to double up on either of them. And that's something that United have struggled with when you knew we only had one outlet. It's easy to block off that outlet. Do I rate their defence at all? It's not as good as their attack. But it's not bad. Cavani debut hat-trick incoming? Probably not. Rojo can be seen training with a squad. Do I think Oli will use him for rotation? No. I wouldn't be shocked to see him on the bench, though, but I would be shocked if he started. With both sides attacking strengths and defensive weaknesses, could this be a contender for game of the season? I see what you're saying, but no, because I don't think United are going to attack them. Not like that, anyway. Why was Greenwood left out of the weekend but training with the squad now? I have no news on what happened with Greenwood whatsoever. So I don't know if he was left out, if he was injured, if he was on the naughty step. I have nothing. How do I think the away atmosphere will affect this game? Well, the players are actually now coming out and talking, aren't they? And managers are coming out and talking and saying this is weird. And it's getting weird, and it feels like it's taken a sting and an intensity out of the game. And I don't know, does that play into United's hands, wanting to play a low block, slow it down, keep it calm, maybe make them do something a bit rash or sloppy? It might play into United's hands a little bit, being a low block. I reckon you want fans and pressure when you're trying to chase a game. You're trying to limit what the opposition can do and intimidate them a little bit, and obviously that's not a thing when there's no fans involved. Since Fred and McTominay bring out the best in each other, would it be effective to play them as a double pivot? It would, and I ummed and ahed on going with Matic and Pogba, but I certainly wouldn't be shocked to see Fred, and I wouldn't be shocked to see McTominay either. But yeah, I would that. Do I worry that our confidence is paper thin and even one goal could have our heads go? Yes and no. I mean, we conceded first against Newcastle and we bounced back just fine, but I do agree that our confidence is definitely paper thin. Chris Smalling had one of his better games for United in Paris last year. Do we have the type of defender to do the job this time around? Yes, I think we do. I think Harry Maguire can do it, and I think he'll go into this game quite confident after getting a goal and having a good performance on top of that as well. Dank says, should Donny start this one? I'd have him off the bench again. Same thing. Although he can do the deeper playmaker role. So, again, him, Pogba, Fred, any of them could play alongside Matic for me, and I think they'd probably do all right. Anyway, that's the questions from the Patreon group. If you'd like to get involved with the Patreon group, we're doing vlogs, we're doing all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as all the Paddock FC full 90 minutes and interviews and all that sort of stuff. If you'd like to join, the link is in the description. It helps keep the channel going at a time when everything's a little bit ropey still. But cheers for tuning in. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.